Hi, this is Mark Millian for CompuMove Systems, and today we're going to take a look at claims management. As you can see, I've got a job record open in front of us here. If you're not sure how to get to this part, then you should look at some other videos. At this point, I'm assuming you know how to operate a job record, at least in a basic way, and so we're just going to focus on claims here. So what I'm going to do is go to the History tab of this record, and then I'm going to go to the Claims tab, and I want to start a new claim. It's worth noting that you could go through the job system and you could go to the claims module and start a new claim from there and link back to the job if you wish to. But it's also possible and perhaps more convenient to create that claim from inside the job record, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to hit the New Claims button. When I click that button, the claim window opens and it's trying to initialize a new claim. Now, one of the things that the claims management system does is it has sequenced claim events where a progression of things that are supposed to happen to help you through the life cycle of the claim will be initialized. You set that up through the claims setup function. That's actually a discussion for another video. So at this point, all I'm going to do is just say, yeah, go ahead and do that. Claims with events. And so that tees up this list of claim events that are planning on running in sequence. I'm not really going to explore that much further at this point. I'm more interested in the claim items themselves and how the claim allocation takes place. But it is worth noting that you can create a sequence of claim events. You can have day offsets. You can have triggers. And then that will serve as the management function for keeping track of the various stages of the life cycle of a claim as you go along. So you can see right now that this claim has been started. It's in the started event is already in done status, and then you can see that the next thing, which is on a 5-day offset, is to get a claim form out to the client. And then you can see the rest of the things in the example that I have here are waiting with various day offsets. Again, you create the sequence of events and their day offsets and what their triggers. What we're looking at right here is just a sample one. So the main focus of what we want to look at here is how to enter claim items, how to deal with them, and also how to deal with the financial allocation. So I'm going to go to the Claim Items tab, and I'm going to say I want to add an item. So I'll click Add Item, and up comes the item description, and I'll just go ahead and call this a sofa. And if we've got an inventory tag number, we can enter it. Now, in terms of the damage area, we've got several places that we can describe the damage. The first one is where we describe the damage as reported to us. So I'm going to go ahead and say scratched left leg. I know there's a series of abbreviations for top, bottom, back, side, leg, veneer, paint, and so on, commonly in use for claims management. You're welcome to use those, but I've just gone ahead and typed in a plain language description here. Now the next item up is the damage code. I'm going to pick an item. I'm just going to say perhaps warehouse damage. Again, that damage code list is one that you maintain in the claim setup area, so we start you with a default event, but you can actually build your own list. I can associate this with a work event. It's not necessary that I do so, but it can be helpful, particularly if this is a shipment where the articles have gone in and out of storage, or it's been handled by more than one party. If somebody loaded and somebody hauled and somebody took it in the warehouse, we might want to associate the particular damage with a work event, which can help guide us in terms of responsibility. Now the other three descriptions are for inventory descriptions. So the first is the the valued inventory description. So if the original inventory when the driver took it said scratched, we might want to note that. If it came into a warehouse or left a warehouse and a warehouse rider inventory was taken, we might want to note that. Same thing with another supplemental inventory taken at destination on another inventory rider, we might want to note that. The next field up is the amount of damage that they're claiming. Let's say that this shipper wants $1,000 for the scratched left leg on their sofa. We can capture some information that goes on claims reports. because obviously the insurance companies and companies like Cardis and the military, they want you to keep statistics about these sort of things. It's not necessary to do that in order just to process a simple claim. But you can enter the original cost, the date that an item was acquired, replacement costs, repair costs. But what we're mostly interested in is the amount that got authorized in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and say we authorize $250 on this claim after we've done a survey, after we process claim forms. And I realize you wouldn't do this all at once. You would have an original claimed amount, and then it would flow through your process, and ultimately an amount would get authorized. But just for the sake of taking a look at how the allocation takes place, I'm jumping ahead sequentially and saying, okay, we've decided we're going to authorize $250. Now we have to allocate it. When we allocate claims, we can allocate a claim as a company expense. We can allocate a claim to a subcontractor or to a driver, or we can split it. Let's go ahead and split this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is click Add, and from the allocation, I'm going to pick the claim expense category. And that drops in the $250, and I'm going to say we're going to split this 50-50 with a driver or some other party. So put 50% into the share. That means $125 is allocated. Now I'm going to add another allocation, and I'm going to go to the driver who worked on this shipment, John Adams, and the system by itself wants an even allocation, wants this to net out to 100%. So it's gone ahead and put the balance in there at the 50%. So I've got $125 allocated to company expense and $125 allocated to the driver expense. So I'm going to go ahead and save that item. That brings me back to this screen. Now let's add another item. We'll go faster this time. I'm going to say a chair. I'm going to do an inventory number. I'm going to say that it had upholstery damage. I guess I'll do the same thing for a warehouse code. I could associate it with a work event. And they want $500 for this upholstery damage, and we're going to authorize that whole amount. So I've clicked in the amount button and $500 went in there. Now, because I've decided for some reason this is a different allocation, I'm going to go back and I'm going to allocate the whole thing to my driver. I'm going to leave it at 100%. That's all I'm going to do here. I'm going to hit save. So now I've got two claim items. I've got the sofa with a split allocation between these two items, and I've got a chair where the full amount goes to my driver, John Adams. And so I can do this with any number of items. I can have basically an unlimited number of items. I can have essentially an unlimited number of allocations. I could have pack claims and driver claims and property damage, all going in different directions. I can make multiple claims on a given shipment too. It's not that I have to do this all through the same claim. So there may be a circumstance, for instance, if there was a scratched sofa and they also ran over a mailbox, you might make that two separate claims because it's possibly two completely separate entities, property owner versus owner of household goods and so on. But in this case, I'm doing it all in the same claim. But I have done a split allocation. So when I go to the Claim Financial History tab, you can see I've got a summary of the claim allocation. I have one item allocated to claim expense for $125, and I've got two items for a total of $625 allocated to my driver, John Adams. So I could do both of those. I can have as many items as I said here, but that's just how what I've got right now nets out. Now, if I want to pay this shipper out, I can drop in a destination address if that's appropriate. In order for it to appear on the check run, to have a payment issued, and I could pay this claim out with a check, or it could be deducted from a future settlement. If I'm doing work with TMM or work with a carrier, then that's going to be deducted out of a subsequent settlement. I'm not actually going to issue a check for it. So this open item will get cleared as part of running that settlement transaction. In this case, I'm going to say that this is going to be a claim that we're going to write a check for. So I've checked the payable box. So now all I have to do is save this claim entry. It writes a transaction, and then the screen goes away. And now it brings me back to the job record that I started on. And if you look here, you can see now we have a claim item. And it shows there's two items, $1,500 claim, $750 authorized, all of that allocated, none of it paid out yet. But you can also see that now we've got a record in the job expense costs area, $125. That's the part that we took as our company share. If I double click into this item and go back to the claim history, you can see that the 125 was what we took as expense. In the same way, if I go to the claim items, you can see that was our expense. These two were allocated to the driver. That's why when we're looking at the job record and we're looking at job expense costs, we're only seeing that. That's what's going to hit our income statement. The part that gets allocated to the driver is going to wind up as an open item on the driver settlement to be deducted from his future settlement as part of an expense that he bears and that is not ours. So I know that there's a whole discussion regarding how drivers are managed and commissions are done. That's a subject for a different video. We just want to focus on that. A couple things to talk about now in terms of managing the life cycle of the claim. You can see that this claim is in a new status. If I click into this and go back into it, there's more I can do here. I can have a claim reference number. If this was a military claim or this was a Cardis claim, then there might well have been a number generated by that entity that I need to keep track of, that I can reference back when I'm in my communication with them or if I'm searching with them. I can assign this claim so that it's the responsibility of a user, because there's a whole system to manage all my claims together. We're just looking at one claim right here. The other thing I can do is I can make memos about things that happen during the life cycle of this event, or I can add an ad hoc event. So I can click on add event and I can say we've had a phone contact and I can add that event. And then I can say perhaps it's a call, and then I can say spoke with shipper, forms on the way, whatever would be appropriate, and then I can save that as either in progress or as done, and then it goes into the permanent record of the job, or excuse me, of the claim. When I click into it, the event memo shows me what's going on down there. So we're really managing this on three levels. We're managing this in terms of the claim, events that control the life cycle of the claim. We're managing it in terms of the individual items and the damage they sustained, and we're managing it in terms of the way the costs are allocated. So now when I save that, and then I'll go ahead and get out of this job, and now when I go and look at the claims manager from the front door, I've actually got a claim pending there. So when this is my claims list, this is where all the claims that are in play would appear. And so the date that's sitting out here, whether there's a due event, you can see right now this one does not, but if I'd have set something up to have a given due date, actually this one does. Let me give it a future day cutoff, okay, because I'm supposed to send that claim form out within 5 days. So here we're looking at claims that exist for two reasons. One, because they've got a due event pending, in which case the date and the message is going to reflect the due event that's pending. The other reason they would be on this list is because it's just an open claim that hasn't been paid out yet. I can filter according to the cutoff date. I can filter according to the status. I can troll back and look at my closed claims. I can filter according to who the user is, who's responsible for this particular claim. All of those things, so that I can come in here and manage my claims in total, and then I can click through into an individual claim, look at the history of it, have a phone conversation, open the job record that's associated with it, review the inventory list if that would be appropriate, whatever is involved in that. So the intent, of course, as always with everything CompuMove, is to give you one place to manage it all and to have it organized as a cohesive whole. So I hope that's a helpful first look at our claims management system. We'd be happy to discuss it in more length with you if you are interested. Any further questions, please call our office. Thanks a lot.